Well guys, here we are. Have ourselves a little bit of a video. Well, you may recognize this room from the bedroom rental project of fall of 2011 and winter of 2012. Well, this has been, a couple of years since this room has been, a project has been touched. There has been, use in this room, people in this room for the last little bit. And of course, as you see, it's now vacant. Other than a couple of my stuff in here from filming a few videos, this room hasn't been used in a little bit. And all in all, it fared fairly well. There's no holes in the wall, which is a definite plus. There are a couple of nicks, a couple of scratches, like, right here, if you see the paint scrapes and all that, but that doesn't even need to be puttied. You can paint right on over that. And, there's a few pictures and stuff that were hung up on the walls that I'll probably fill the holes. One of the major ones I noticed that, if you want to call it a damage, is where there was an over the door hook here that rubbed both on the frame as well as the door. But there really is no damage to this room, just needs to be some touch-up paints. Same with this door here. If you remember, we installed this door for that project, and if you see here, there's a couple of marks on the door where it needs to be touched up, and same up here on the frame where the over the door went. And every time the door was opened or closed, it rubbed on the door frame and created basically a gouge or a wear mark. We can sand that and touch it up with paint. Of course, some of those marks are going to be there for the life of the frame. There's not much you can do to change that, but you can do touch-up paint on her. And of course, this carpet here is a minimum of 3, maybe 4 years old, this carpet. So for those of you that watched this video, you'll know that it was on the floor when I did the renovation in this room. So, it was an old carpet then, and I almost tore it up then, but I left it down. And it's not nailed down or glued down at all. It should just roll up and we can toss it out. I'm not 100% sure which direction this project is going to go. I'm not 100% sure if it's just going to be a quick in, quick out, touch up some of the, the little Mars in the wall from the, nicks and stuff, and, fill some of the, where the picture hooks and stuff like that were, in the wall and all that. Or if I'm going to end up doing another project in here where I put down new flooring and stuff like that. But we'll have to play it by ear on this project and see which direction it goes. But right now, I'm going to probably start by clearing out the brand new office chair here and my table, as well as the couple of goodies in here that are mine that I've left in here for storage. And then pretty much get at rolling up the carpet and taking it from there. So let's get at her and we'll catch you all later. Well guys, here we go. Cleaned out the room, wrestled up that carpet, and got her heave-hoed outside. One thing I will say is that it sure makes the room more echoey now without the carpet in there, even more than it was before. And yeah, so we'll have to see how that goes. I imagine once you get furniture back in here, the sound would probably, level out a bit. But of course, pulled up the carpet, and we got back our lovely, whatever you want to call it, linoleum, whatever you want to say this is. But however, every time there was something spilt here on the floor or whatever, the carpet tended to stick to it. So got a couple of really heavy ones right here, and a bunch of small ones, and then a really big one right here, about where a nightstand would have been, or something next to the bed, right? So I'm not 100% sure how to get this stuff up. Got to get, majority of it up. It's just adhesive, so I might use some type of adhesive remover and get scraping and see what happens. So probably gonna get out of here and get going, see how far I get, and hopefully it doesn't give too much of a headache, because you can't really open a window this time of year. So, well guys, here we are. I just got done here washing down the floor, let the floor all dry, and kind of this is what we have now. With elbow grease and determination, we were able to get the adhesive off the floor from all the carpet. You almost can't even tell it was even there. There's a couple of spots on the floor. I'm not quite sure what happened there, but whatever. And I guess she's pretty much ready to go. But I've pulled down the curtain here, gonna give it a wash, and probably wipe down the walls and all that, go over, wipe down the fan and a few things like that. Probably wipe down the closet here, because I'd like to paint inside the closet, being it was missed, last time. And of course the shelf up here, as you guys can see, the dust up there needs to be wiped down. And then basically she's ready for paint. I still got that molding up here that I want to put up that I've had, and didn't get put up the last time, so that'll go up this time. It'll help to support the shelving. And of course, just some of the touch-ups on some of the little nicks I see here, and a few things like that. But yeah, it's probably a weekend type of job, and this room can be ready for livable in again kind of a deal. So, well guys, here we go. So of course, after the walls and that are all washed and the floor is all reasonably clean, it's time to make another mess and basically redirty the floor. So way back when I first did this project, I installed this fancy shelving here for ornaments and stuff like that. But because the walls of my house aren't square, they didn't sit well with the wall. Pretty much, you can see the gap. And over time, having weight on it has made these sag. So I'm going to remove them now, and I guess either use them in another project or get rid of them altogether. But if I remember correctly, these things didn't go on without a fight, so they're probably going to come off about the same. I know up top we have a screw here that should turn out no problem. This screw over here is busted, so because of the wall being unsquare, the shelf couldn't go on to the bracket square, so therefore these screws didn't line up in the holes the way they should. And the story's pretty much the same on this guy over here. We got one screw that went in and one screw that didn't line up, and basically, if you would, broke off. Once those are off, if I remember correctly on how I installed them, they're going to be a pain to get the anchors out of the wall, because, well, when I installed them beyond what I should have for strength wise, because I didn't want them falling off, and I never thought they'd actually be coming off the wall in this short a time. So throw it on the old tripod here, guys, and we'll remove this shelf number one. Okay guys, so this is what happens with those anchors when you remove them the wrong way. Anchor number one, which is this guy here, was already half pulled out of the wall. Now anchor number two was already stress cracked from when anchor number one pulled out of the wall. So with anchor number two, with anchor number one already being out of the wall, there wasn't much chance for anchor number two to do any good. So it basically came out once I got the shelf away from the bracket and went to go cut the anchor. It popped out as well. Now most landlords, apartment buildings and stuff do not like those anchors, because of the fact they will do that kind of damage to the wall when you're pulling them out. What kind of damage are we talking about? Well, pretty much we have ourselves a tape measure here. We roughly have ourselves a 2-inch, we could say it's probably 2-inch by 2-inch damage to the wall here for the holes. Now if you repair it correctly, you won't hardly even be able to tell that it's there. But if you don't repair it correctly, then yeah, you'll have issues. So let's go over to the other shelf and we'll see if it's as bad as this one. So after undoing the remaining screw in the bottom there, this shelf here just slides right off of the bracket. So as you can see right here, we're actually half a step ahead of where we were on the other one. Then these screws here are the screws we have to undo. So we'll spin these off and then we can start removing the anchor itself from the wall. Okay, so once you got that bracket removed, you can, if you want, putty over these. However, you will make like a bump in the wall and they will be there forever. Number 2 way of dealing with these is to just take a pair of cutters and clip off this. By that you'll be damaging the wall just a little bit because you will be like scraping you know, into it to cut. Another way to deal with this, if you really want, you can take yourself a drill bit and try to drill off that washer. Pretty much like that. And if you'll notice, the damage to the wall is very, very minimal. There is no 2-inch hole to deal with. There's just a whatever it would be, 1/4-inch hole to deal with. So we'll do the same to the other one here. And there you go. Much less evasive way to remove an anchor. Of course, those other anchors there, they were already pulled out of the wall. They're already damaged. The wall itself was already stress cracked, and basically it was going to fall out of the wall. And when it falls out of the wall, it creates that kind of damage. So really, all you really have to do now to repair this is to fill this here up, just like you're puttying a nail hole. Give that a fill, give it a sand, and then give it a paint. So we'll put our first fill on these holes and then we'll pretty much start the repair process. Okay, so these larger holes will require a little bit more attention. What I like to do is take a little bit of mud on my spatula here, squeeze it on in the hole you're trying to fill the void that is the hole. Now you will see here it's probably going to droop a little bit, which is going to be normal, and it's probably going to end up having to take a second and probably a third fill before I get the desired result that I want. So I guess we'll let that dry. We'll turn our attention to the other smaller holes, and then what I'll do is I'll go around the room and fill some of the nicks that are in the wall. And then I guess we'll come back and we'll give that a gentle scraping and then hit her with another coat. Well guys, here we go. Another day in the bedroom refresher project. Well, as you see here, I've gone around the room and I've lightly sanded the repairs and fixes that we've done. These here are ready for paint. They feel fairly good. They should be, you know, good enough when you consider the walls they're going on. If this was a mansion or a house that was like brand new or something, then yeah, you would probably end up replacing the drywall to give the proper fix that you want. But given these are older walls and there have been like 60 years of repairs done to these walls, well then, you know, you're gonna leave a little bit of, you know, look to the fix when you do it. So I've gone around and I've lightly sanded each one of the repairs. Basically, you're not sanding to really remove any of the mud, you're just sanding to get rid of any of the ripples and any of the mist, extra product that's been put onto the wall. Now, what I'm probably going to do after I'm done here is I'll probably end up wiping down the wall with like a damp cloth. That's going to remove any of the dust from the wall, because when you sanded, you created the drywall dust, which will get into your paint and affect the finish. Of course, now comes to the final decision here. What am I going to do for paint? Am I going to repaint the whole walls, basically recoat the whole walls, even though this paint is only like 2 or 3 years old? It hasn't seen a lot of sun, a lot of fade. Or am I going to just touch the walls up with a roller, a brush or whatever, touch some spots up and take a chance on it being faded? I know on camera this wall here looks lighter than this wall, and when you sight it up, there looks like there's a color difference between even this wall here and the little small wall too. But we'll cross that when we get there. If there is a paint shade difference because of fading or age, then yeah, we'll have to recoat the whole wall. So I'm going to dig out my paint stuff and give the walls a wipe down, and then away she goes.